People that would go out and sell a product off of illustration. And to me, it opened up a door for somebody to come right back behind you. And you know, if you've been in the business for a while, what you can do to any illustration, right? It's only as good as the ink and the paper, right? You can do anything you want to manipulate certain financial service products for the wrong reasons. This is a guideline that when you approach everything from an education standpoint and develop a need for somebody to solve a problem with a solution that's in this book, let me tell you something. That's the way you really help somebody, educate them. And if you base all of your activity off of what's in this book, trust me, you will have long-term valuable relationships. People will be indebted to you long-term to maintain the relationship long-term with you as a trusted friend and advisor. And also it will keep you on a path or on a rail that will enable you to always do the right thing. Because WSB is never going to put anything in any book or any part of their system of things that you should not be doing. It's sometimes when we get outside and we go back to the basics, or we go back to things that we really know we shouldn't be doing, is when what? Things happen that are not supposed to happen. So if you would take this, and I just heard Coach walk through some examples of you can use this how you want to use it. But the reality is if you stay in this environment with what this means and what this represents, your ability to grow a substantial business is really the track for us making 2017 one of the biggest years we'll ever have. So I can't tell you when I see this in history might be one of the greatest books that this industry's ever seen when it comes to education and helping people. So I hope you don't take that for granted. I asked Swan this morning, how many of these have really been out there? You said, what, Swan, about 1 million over 2 years? Does that sound about right? What if we doubled that? Wouldn't that be incredible? What we would do? But I got just promise me one thing. Don't just hand these out. Expect a result. If you're really going to help somebody and educate them, make a commitment to yourself and to them that you follow up on them and really make sure that they understand what's in here and identify things that you can really help them with. I think as an organization, we've got to make that our responsibility. We cannot just hand something or leave this somewhere and expect people to do things with it without your guidance, without your support. Because the reality is, if we don't get people to act upon what's in here, the reality is, right, it's like a Ferrari with no gas. Right, Carl? It's not going anywhere. And why would you want to have a Ferrari with no gas in it? The gas comes from your counsel and your ability to help people move things. So promise me that if you're going to go out and deliver this, that there's some follow-up to make sure that you get people to act upon. There's a lot of words I can use for Swan Nguyen as a friend, as a colleague, as a partner, when I think about his integrity, his work ethic. But one thing I always can depend on Swan Nguyen is results. The results to do the right thing and the results to make a difference. This cause in 2017, again, we're going to look back on this as a time that we look back on this meeting, and I'm going to ask you for something right now. About a year ago, we started talking about this DOL thing. And don't sit there and say, well, I'm in Canada and it doesn't really mean anything to me, because it does. This is probably one of the most substantial changes our industry's ever faced. But let me give you a little bit of certainty. We are ready for it. And the reason that we're ready for it is because of WSB. Because part of what I have the confidence in and I have the support of is that when you really look at where we're going with the changes that we're going to be dealing with, in very simplistic terms, if you stay on this track, because what we're doing, what George Chung is doing, and what Janice Curcio has helped do, and what John Joseph has helped do, and what Mark Halloran, who you met with, has helped do, we designed a system and a platform that's certified for us as an organization to identify and then to properly advise those individuals that we work with that have qualified assets. And it's just that simple. We have a certified process ready to go. And all we're going to do with you is work with the system with you that'll plug into this, that does two things. It identifies when somebody has qualified assets, like an IRA or a pension, or up in Canada, any sort of a qualified plan. But again, this really affects anything in the U.S. But again, anybody that has an ERISA-based retirement plan, we're going to have a system that will simply identify that. And then when those individuals desire to work with somebody to find out a little bit more information or get advice about those plan assets, we're going to have a system that allows them, that's certified, to work with a certified advisor. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you. It's time now. So Johnny, Alicia, it's time now. What I want to make sure is that it's very important for us long term when your leadership group says it's time for you to get your securities license, the Series 6 and 65, and you'll work closely with your organization, your team. They'll let you know when that's time to start to do that in your own case. But those of you today that are, I'm gonna pick a group, and it's really this front group. If you're today a CEO and above, I want everybody, and I don't care if you're in U.S. or Canada, I want every CEO and above to stand up that in the U.S. has a Series 6 and a 65, or if you're in Canada and a CEO and above, that you also have a mutual fund license to go along with your life licenses. Stand up. Everybody stand up that has one of those. Okay, I'm going to make a point. Everybody from Canada, sit down. Okay, everybody in the U.S., stand up. So U.S., if you're a CEO and above, and you got a Series 6 and a 65, stand up. Not a lot of you, huh? So this is a little reality play. I'm doing this on purpose. But the point being made is it is time. Okay? You guys have got to go out and get your 65s. Kind of a reality shock, right? But it is time now. Because in April, in fact, April the 10th, we've got to be ready to start to execute what we need to do with the DOL. But we also know that the best interest contract will be signed really January 1st of 18. So we've got some work to do. George Chung is going to be in a position with Mark Halloran. We're developing a video, and it's going to be ready to go out. But keep in mind, we've got some work to do now. And it's something that we're ready for. And it's, I told you day one, I would let you know when it's time for us to do this. Now there's a couple things that are very important. Because keep in mind, when I said that there are examples where we're going to identify where those planned assets are, and we're going to identify a source of advisors that they could work with. And those of you that have a life license and that don't have a securities license, I want you to promise me one thing, because it goes back to this book. You're still going to have an opportunity to get somebody aligned in your organization to help that individual with that case, with that need, with that desire to visit with somebody about those qualified assets, aren't you? And that's the important thing, and we're going to have a referral process in order for you to get that done. So it's not so much about commissions, it's about what? Helping somebody that has a desire to get aligned with somebody that can help them understand questions and get some advice about those assets. And those of you that have those licenses right now, really it's more of you in this front row, you've got to be ready for that. John people like, I've talked to you guys about this. You're going to have to be ready to work with those individuals. So when we talk, I don't know who said that, it was Karen earlier, that everybody in the front row stood up and said it's time for us to get back in the game. There's going to be some things that I am going to ask you to do as senior leaders because of the licenses that you have, that you're going to have an opportunity to work with your teams and make sure that those individuals get that advice that they need, and that we are in a position that you'll be part of this certified system in providing that. So, but it is time to do that now. So when we look back on this convention, not only is it going to be a huge movement in the cause of helping all the families that you're going to help, and the cause that you're going to go out to financially educate these individuals in North America, we'll look back on this at a time when we would say this was the meeting that we came out